Hey everyone. Okay, still setting things up a bit. Of course, I accidentally turned off my laptop because, y'all, that's the kind of quality technology I have at my fingertips. I don't know if you can see me type in my password. Don't look. All right. So, let's see. All right. Okay. Hi everyone. Oh, let me turn down the volume. Turn down the volume. As if I were a professional or something. Oh, but Peppa Pig says hi. Hello, how are you? I'm good. I'm fine, thank you. I hope you're doing well as well. I love Peppa Pig. I find actually Peppa Pig even funnier in Chinese. If you ever get a chance to watch Peppa Pig in Chinese, it is prime. Let's see. So I have a few questions from people today, but I'll let folks get settled in first. Um, I have done almost nothing today. I woke up pretty early because when you have children, you just always wake up early. My kids always wake up early because they're jerks. So I probably woke up before 8, um, probably before 7. And then, not that anyone actually cares what I've done today, but I think I read a lot of fanfic, BTS fanfic, of course. One was a quality one of Namjoon and Jin and Reader. It was excellent. And then there was another quality one of it was like an art heist, and it's with Yoongi and Hosuk and the Reader. But anyway, is that too much about me? I thought it was interesting because I really enjoy the writing by Lamouche, and on AO3. So I'll let people stream in. Let's see. Hi Pamela. Hi. Okay, so I'll just get started answering questions because I figured that will start things rolling a bit. So Margaret Christie said her brother just told her that he's a tea drinker, and sometimes gin doesn't hit the spot. He also orders proper leaf tea online and drinks it black. She's tried buying black leaf tea, but it's hard to get into and know what you want. She imagines that I might have some specialist knowledge. Do I use any specialist esoteric products? Why and what are they? Hi, Beverly. I want to say that I am really, really basic. I am totally fine. I have both loose leaf teas that I bought long time ago in like China and Taiwan, and like really nice loose. I don't know if they're nice. What I learned when I was in China in 1990, no, 2000, 2001, maybe before then. We went to like some tea farm on a mountain. I don't know. But they said that if you, the sign of good tea is when you drink it and you can taste the aroma in the back of your throat as you're sipping, after you sip it, or something like that. And I really, this pillow is very uncomfortable. I really don't know how to explain it better than that, but that's been my experience. That when really good tea, you can. It's not just the flavor, and really good tea also makes your water not taste like bo- boiled leaf water. But I'm not like fancy or anything. I do have special like reusable container things for loose leaf tea. Um, and if I'm feeling particularly fancy, I'll drink it. But in general, because I don't get to drink at the same time that I want all the time, I usually use like um, a cup like this. So I got this for free from one of my like. So I've worked with Xfinity Comcast a lot for the past 2 years, and so they always give me free swag. It's great. And then the sticker you see, "Don't be a prick," that's from my friend Christy Trimmer. She sells a lot of these amazing, very funny pictures, stickers. So if I remember, I'll find the link and put it in the comments. But she sells great, like really high quality stickers and coloring books. One of the sweatshirts that I wear a lot is also hers. It's like the softest sweatshirt I've ever owned or bought. And so, hi Tina. Tina, my queen. She's in this. I'm in a group chat with her, and we met almost almost a year ago. Like May, was it May? Did we meet in May? Oh, almost a year ago. So I've had the pleasure of getting to know her for the last year or so. Oh, so that's yeah, that's my thing on tea. I'm actually really not that picky. I'll drink it. I don't really care, unless if it really just tastes awful. If I've gotten used to like chamomile, which I think tastes like dirt and is so boring. Um, and the like mother's milk tea that you drink to help with breastfeeding. This is totally like, oh, like this is totally an old woman, middle aged woman type of like live, right? When you're talking about like drinking tea to help you make breast milk. But anyway, but yeah, so that if you can get used to drinking like tea that tastes like licorice, which is like the worst, um, I really don't care what kind of tea I like. My favorite teas are like chrysanthemum tea. I like it because it's very light. But I also really like black tea. But my favorite is Earl Grey, because I really like the bergamot, the like citrusy scent. Hi, Golden Haze. So yeah, that's about like that. That pretty much exhausts my like knowledge of tea, which was very small. Okay, if I were, she continues asking, Margaret Christie's question. If you were to confess any unexpected indulgence you have committed, what would it be and why? Uh, Hi, Margaret. Okay, so indulgence? I'm not quite sure what you mean by indulgence. Like, I don't really feel like maybe laziness. I'm pretty lazy. Um, Tina says, let's spill the tea. Yeah, I don't know about indulgences. I like to read, or I like to binge watch things, but I don't know if that's unexpected. I think that's pretty par for course nowadays, right? You either binge books, you binge content of any sort. Sorry, my kids are screaming in the back. Um, Maybe I didn't indulge in BTS. I don't know. Uh, I don't know if anything I actually indulge in is that like unexpected. I'm very boring. Um, I don't really drink to excess. Although on Friday I drank too much and it was not pretty. Uh, what am I binge watching? Pamela Jackson asks, what am I binge watching? BTS content. That's pretty much all I watch. I sometimes I save up their concert videos for so that I can watch it a bunch at a time, and then for reactions, I tend to watch a bunch of reaction. I tend to watch a bunch of videos at the same time. So like, I just went through a streak of Dreamcatcher videos. Spoiler alert! I really dig them. I went through a whole bunch of Dimash ones. I think I've seen like 10 or 12 Dimash videos. Um, and always BTS. I think I binge watched a bunch of like NCT 17, Super M, and like EXO. Maybe not, no, probably not EXO, but like Glamour has a bunch of those, Glamour and like Teen Vogue and all those like ridiculous places with the like friendship tests. So I've enjoyed those. Oh, Pamela, I support your quest to binge watch BTS reaction videos. I have 68 or 69 of them on my playlist. So, you know, that's there for you. I live to serve. um, let's see. Oh, Guilty Secrets. Margaret Christie says, indulgence as in guilty secrets. I confessed to a colleague that I watched a really mindless and awful TV reality show called Made in Chelsea. She confessed the same back. Magic moment. I really don't have any. I guess unless if you consider fan fiction a secret, I guess. I don't know. Yeah, but but yeah, I really like BTS reaction videos. Some of my favorite channels are Hyuni and Kyoni. They're two Korean ajusis. I say ajusi as if they're like so much older. They're probably like my age or just a little bit older. They're in their 40s, I think. Um, Pamela says she watches a period drama called The Untamed on Netflix. Oh, you watch all 50 episodes in 5 days. Wow, that's I used to be able to do that. I don't have Netflix. I'm like the last person on earth with no real streaming. show at all, because Tina says she watches 90 Day Fiance, and that's pretty bad. You know, a lot of my friends watch 90 Day Fiance. They actually really enjoy it because it's so bad, and they also really like watching that Love Is Blind show, which they also say is terrible, but they can't stop watching. But I don't really, I really, honestly, you guys, I'm really lame. I really only consume BTS content or YouTube content. If it's not on YouTube, I probably haven't seen it. Um, yeah, I don't. Occasionally, so I'll let my NCIS episodes build up on the DVR, and then I'll watch them all, and then my kids will complain. And then I still haven't finished watching Into the Badlands season 3. Like I've had it, it's been on my DVR for like 2 years. It took me forever to finish watching like Killing Eve, which I adore. If you haven't seen Killing Eve, you should totally watch it. It is so excellent. There's only like 16 episodes. There's only been 2 seasons, and it's on BBC America, I think. Um, Margaret Christie says, I watched all 75 eps of Rise of Phoenixes in 5 days when I was working full time. Started me on Asian drama and K drama. Oh, Pamela also agrees. 90 Day Fiance is one that she loves. Um, you know, I used to do that. I used to binge watch like True Blood when it first came out. My friend and I would just watch it for like a whole day, but I just can't do that anymore. And it's also because my kids have taken over the television. I used to like scoff, like who's watching shows on like small screens. Apparently, parents who've been kicked off their own television by their children are now watching things on small screens. That's me. Um, yeah, so I really honestly don't binge watch anything, um, because I just don't. It's not that I don't have the time. It's just that I don't. Unless if it's BTS, I pretty much won't watch it unless if it's also for like reacting, because I prefer reading because I can read about 80 to 90 pages an hour. But even when you watch something, no matter how good or efficient of a watcher you are, um, you can only, if a 42-minute show, a 44-minute hour long drama takes 44 minutes to watch. Unless if you want to like kill all sense of like timing and suspense and pacing by watching it on like double speed. So I'll often watch reaction videos on double speed, um, because I'm lazy. Because I want to watch a bunch of reaction videos, but I also know that 10 minutes takes 10 minutes. But if I watch it in double speed, it's 5 minutes. And really, all I care about is the reaction anyway. I've seen the video. So yeah, I love watching lit TV. They're so funny. Like CM and Sean, they're just so adorable. Um, I really like Briz Life. I really like Terry. I know some people don't like him, but I enjoy watching him. And I like Joey Nato because he has like interesting things to say as a producer, and I like React to the K because they're experts. And then who else do I like? I mean, I like a bunch of people. Just because I don't mention them doesn't mean I haven't watched them or don't like them. It's just that's perhaps. Oh, like FO Squad. They're super enthusiastic and very funny. Form of therapy is interesting. DKTV always has cultural insight, and they often get in trouble for saying stupid things. Mostly Danny, right? Because David's pretty more even tempered. Um, Pamela Jackson says she confesses that sometimes she hides the fact that she's watching BTS reaction videos or BTS videos from her husband. My husband called me a teenager today and yesterday and maybe the day before. He says, I hole up in my room. I don't come down except to eat. I don't pay attention to the rest of the family and I have headphones in. And I'm like, I'm with you guys like all the time. I don't really see why I have to pay attention to everybody. This is a weird kind of parenting. I don't believe in this. Golden Haze asks me if I mind telling her what my sun sign is. I don't know what a zodiac sign. For the Western zodiac, I'm a Virgo, um, and for Chinese zodiac, I'm a horse. I don't really know any. I don't know if I'm a rising one. I don't know whatever. I don't know any of those things. Let's see. Oh, Tina also watches people watching Harry Potter and Lord of the Rings movies. What? You watch them watch the movie like they've never seen the movie before? Hey, baby, mommy is doing live. You can say hello, but otherwise you have to go. Okay? Hey, you can say hi. No, you look at the camera. You can't. You can't.
Huh?
Look at the camera. The camera. Okay, say hi. Now go.
Hi.
All right, now go away. Go, Zola.
It's slower, Mama.
All right. Well, that was my son. He's 10. He's always. Go away! I mean, I guess I should be glad that he wants to be around me, but mostly he just wants to be here to like cause shit. Let's see. Oh, Margaret Christie says she doesn't have a TV. It died, and uses only YouTube and Netflix. And you fast forward through the soap and watch ASMR videos at bedtime. She has a Lord of the Rings shop. That's so funny. Hi, Kate. Hi, Maria. And who else? Oh, I already said hi to Beverly. Oh, so like ASMR videos, I don't really, they creep me out. But some of them I don't mind, but some of them I'm like, no, I can't do it. Just can't do it. Like it makes me cringe. Like I feel embarrassed. And then what else? Tom Hiddleston ASMR. My kids love Tom Hiddleston. He's the new Spider-Man, right? I think. What else did people say? Yeah, I don't have any streaming services other than Amazon Prime, and I don't ever watch that either because I am lame. I think my mom has Disney Plus, but she might be canceling it. But my kids barely watch that. Like we're so old school. We're so tethered. We have like Comcast cable, and we watch that. And I think it's because I like scrolling through channels. If that makes sense. Like it's a habit that I used to have, and I like scrolling. And if I scroll to something I like, then I'll watch it. But you can't scroll on Netflix. You can't scroll on like Hulu. You have to like, you know what I mean? Like you have to like scroll through all these choices. And quite frankly, I hate having that many choices. It always means I end up watching something I already watched. Yeah, it's just I find it too intimidating. But if I'm scrolling it, it's already playing on my television, and it's like midway through, then it's not that intimidating, right? Like I could check it out for 5 minutes, and then like, oh okay, and then there's a commercial. I could check out another show. But when it's like streaming, I feel like it's commitment, especially if there's like a lot of seasons. And then I feel like, well, if I start watching now, then I have to watch the other 89,000 episodes. Like, well, oh my god, what if you just recently became an NCIS fan? Or what if you just recently that's a huge time commitment. Oh, that just makes me want to cry. So awful. Tina, I'm sorry. I'm dumb. I'm not if it's not BTS related, I don't know. Maria says streaming is dangerous. A whole season right there. Yes. Oh yeah, Margaret Christie asked, where does Yoongi talk for an hour? He will talk for an hour on V Live. There's even on their old was it on V Live or was it on Bangtan TV where he like reviewed and made a beat in front of us? And you can see a lot of those. But I try not to listen to those too often because I'll get really drowsy and I don't want to train my brain to be sleepy listening to Yoongi talk. Because one day when I meet him and he talks to me, we're going to get married and have lots of babies. That was delusional, but that's okay. All right, we're all friends here. We're all friends. Yes, Maria. Maria says, just catching up as a K-pop fan is intimidating. Yes. Oh, it's been like 2 years since I've started standing BTS or started checking them out, and I still haven't caught up on everything. And I've tried to watch. I feel like I've given it my best shot. I have. Okay, no, I didn't finish watching Hwarang because I can't get you guys. I can't make it through K-dramas. Thanks, Kate. But Kate says I'm not alone, and I appreciate it. But so yeah, I can't make it through K-dramas. The only K-drama I've ever made it through all the way is Goblin. That's the only one. I think I made it through 4 episodes of Hwarang and maybe 12 episodes of Secretary Kim. And yeah, for me, like once they got together, why am I watching the rest of this? Why? There's 4 other episodes. Why am I watching? I don't care. So yeah, and yeah, that's the other thing. Like, why I don't. You would think I'd totally be into K-drama and C-dramas, but the thing is, it requires subs, and again, like, and it requires like active paying attention. Like I can watch an NCIS episode and still like check out my phone, go on Facebook. I can do a bunch of things while watching NCIS, right? Like it doesn't require my whole attention. Why? Because it's been the same show for 18 years, and most importantly, it's in English. But even C dramas where I am fluent in Mandarin, I still don't understand maybe like 10 to 20% of what they're saying. Either they're using vocabulary that I've never heard of, or I'm not, or if it's a period drama, oh God help me, I have no idea what they're saying. So yeah, it requires too much like attentive attention. I just can't give it. I can't give it. I keep thinking about like what other things I could be doing. I could be writing. I could be consuming BTS content for the like 8th time. Like, I could be watching so many things, right? Like, so I feel like I just don't have the commitment to do it. But I really admire people who do, because like I feel like there's just so many wonderful stories being told out there. It's just a shame that I'm so lazy to watch it and consume it. Pamela says she's also getting into C dramas and that the Untamed was awesome. Margaret Christie says NCIS is so comforting watching something that's predictable. Yes. Oh yeah, and Pamela says you have to read pretty fast too. Yes, sometimes I'm like, what the hell did they just say? And also I'm trying to learn Korean. Oh, that's what I do in my spare time. So depending on how good I am at it, or like how many hearts I've used up, I can spend anywhere between 15 minutes to like 2 hours trying to get better at Korean. And it's like day 15. It's like 2 weeks in, and like Korean is so hard, y'all. It's so hard. Like Korean's so hard. And I get it's very confusing to me, because Korean shares like maybe 40% vocabulary with Chinese. So like things or like certain words sound similar because Korean has its root in Chinese, right? So Korean and Japanese kind of split off from Chinese around the same time. So they're very similar to like Hokkien, like Taiwanese, Cantonese. Because ancient Chinese did not sound like Mandarin. It sounded more like Cantonese. So there's a lot of very similar sounding words. So it's helpful, so it's helpful. Like 图书馆 is library in Chinese, and it's in Korean. It's like dosu-guan, which is like or maybe it's pu. It's like very, very similar, right? Like, so it's super similar. So sometimes I'm like, yeah, Korean's easy. And then their grammar structure is completely different. And I'm like, what the fuck is this? What is this? So like, it's like the whiplash between like, oh, it's amazingly easy, to like, this is the hardest thing. And then I totally have sympathy for people who complain about how like Mandarin, the tones are different. And Cantonese has like 8 to 10 tones. So I don't know how they deal with that. How like they can't hear the difference between ma, which is at least 4 different words. So ma is like mom, ma is hemp, or like being numb, and then ma is horse, and then ma is to scold. To me, it sounds like 4 distinct words. And then if we wanted to add in like the 5th neutral tone, it'd be like ma. Like, oh, it's like a thing you add at it, like to indicate a question or something like that. But yeah, like they tell me there's a difference between a, and I'm like, yo, those are 4 same syllables. You guys are liars. And so I feel like I all of a sudden have a lot of like sympathy for people who complain that Mandarin's hard. I'm like, what are you talking about? It's so easy. Blah, blah, blah. Well, it's easy and it's hard. Margaret says she wishes she could magically wake up one morning with fluent Korean. Yes. This is when you're like, let's be in the Matrix world, where you could just like shove a plug in the back of your neck and then all of a sudden download information. That would be awesome. Or yeah, Babel Fish in A Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, right? Yes. So Margaret used to work with a lot of immigrants with poor English, and her superpower would be a Babel Fish. Yes, it would be so useful, I think. So useful. Then I wouldn't have to wait like a week for translations of BTS lyrics. And but yeah. Tina knows a lot of languages. Right? Tina, you know English, Finnish, and German, and French, I think. Like, Like, see, I think Europe and like Asia, they have it right. They learn a lot of languages. Um, the Babel app is based on it. Margaret, I think, do you remember when Babel Fish was a thing? Babel Fish on Alta Vista? And then it became, and then I think Google Translate bought it. But yeah. Oh, Pamela, you're on Duolingo learning Spanish? I'm on Duolingo learning Korean. And Golden, you know Spanish and English. That's still more than what a lot of people know, right? Like, that's amazing. One Finnish, English, Swedish, German, French, and little Italian. Tina, stop showing off. Holy crap. The US is terrible at language instruction. I took French for like 5 or 6 years, so I can kind of read it. And if someone talks really slow, like I'm an idiot, I can maybe get some of what you're saying. And then I took Latin in college for like a semester. That was fun, actually. I really enjoyed Latin. And then because I was in LA, I picked up a lot of Spanish. So actually, I think my Spanish is better than my French, but I wouldn't have picked up so much Spanish if I didn't first learn French, if that makes sense. I don't know. What would be? Oh, Pamela, you want to do both English and no, you want to do both Spanish and Korean? Is it too much? I don't know. I don't think so. I think they're so different. Like Korean and Spanish are so different. I don't think your brain would get confused. But if you were trying to learn Spanish and like say Portuguese at the same time, I think that would be confusing. Oh yeah, Pamela, I totally agree. I can read Spanish and like French, but that's the funny thing about Romance languages, right? You can kind of guess what it's saying though. English and Tina says in Finland, English and Swedish are obligatory. English starts at 3rd grade. See, that's smart. Margaret, yes, Latin is so useful for European languages. I actually really do think I picked up a lot of Spanish also because of the Latin. But yeah, so that's what I say. Like my one friend, she speaks Mandarin, English, Taiwanese, Japanese, and so it was very easy for her. She could pick up Korean just from watching K-dramas because I guess Korean grammar sounds very similar, and Japanese sound very similar to Korean. So who knows? Oh, Golden, you're saying like, oh, so you want to learn Korean now? Yes, I think we should all. Pamela, I think you're right. We've been totally robbed, and a lot of it is because America thinks it's the center of the world, right? And so everyone has to learn English versus we have to learn other languages. So on the one hand, that makes us the most dominant, but on the other hand, I think it makes us at the mercy of other people. Let's see. Maria. See, Maria is an English teacher. She tortures her students with Greek and Latin roots. The science teachers love you. Yes, that's a main reason why I wanted to study Latin, because I had it in my head I was going to be in science. And I knew that a lot of things in science were based in Latin. And it's not that I remember any of my first Latin, my one semester of Latin, but I enjoyed it. I love languages. I find languages just fascinating. I find etymology fascinating, like tracing words back to their roots, literal and figurative. I find it very interesting that most languages, the words for father, mother are very, very similar because they're all like, I forget the actual word for it, the linguistic term for it, but they're all like it is in Hebrew it's Abba for daddy, and then like, but in Chinese it's Baba, and in Korean it's Appa. Like it's just so very similar because those are the sounds that babies can form easily. Gaelic. Yeah, you know what? I love Gaelic. From what I've heard of it, it sounds amazing. And Margaret also has a friend who's fluent in 9 languages. She says after 5, it's easy. You know what? It's sort of like after having 3 children, the fourth, 5th, 6th, they're all the same. But, yeah, different accents are fun too. I think it's interesting. Look at us nerds. I love us. We're so nerdy. I love it. Let's see. Oh, Margaret had also asked, if you were 17 now and considering your further education, what would you study, where, and why would you study? And if not, what would you do? I've actually thought about it a lot. It's hard to say, right? Because do I look at it? Do I go back and think of what is most employable or what is most interesting? And so, oh, Margaret Christie asks if the fourth was painless. I don't know. It was. I'm always drugged up, but I guess I was having contractions for a long time, and I didn't really even notice them. So the fourth one was pretty interesting. The fourth one was pretty easy. I mean, it's by that time. Yeah, I mean, forgetting what birth is like, what being pregnant is like, what having a newborn is like. It's all just one long smear of like, somehow we muddled through. But, all right. So back to the 17, what I would study. I think I would study something like, so personally, I'm actually much more interested in history. Like Asian or like Asian American studies, maybe African American studies, women's studies. Those I find very interesting because those are the things that, or like, yeah, just how history shapes us, shapes the narrative of countries. I find that interesting. I don't particularly find like actual like knowing like the dates of when something happened. I think that's important, but I'm not very good at like remembering specific dates, unless if I lived through it. But yeah, I think that's what I find most interesting. Whether that's employable or not, I don't know. But I do think it requires you to think deeply, to examine things. Um, because I wouldn't say I'm interested in social work. I'm not at all. I admire people who are, but I don't have the stomach for it. I'm not interested in writing research papers or conducting research. I find that just mind numbing. But I am interested in the conclusions that they draw. I'm interested in some of the books or like the articles, and I find that interesting. Tomorrow's podcast episode is an hour long actually, and it's with some of your favorite. With I think a lot of you have a favorite guest reactor, and that favorite guest reactor is Jeff Harry, and he is on my podcast tomorrow for about an hour, and we do talk a lot about that. That the reason that we talk about love yourself tomorrow and how you need to also know yourself to love yourself, and that the reason why so much of U.S. history, why America has such an identity crisis and why it hates immigrants and hates people who are different, who are not white, is because it doesn't know its own history. Because we have bought into the lie of our history that, oh, we were founded on independence. We were founded on like, individualism and the pursuit of happiness. But really, that is partially true, but we were founded on not wanting to pay taxes. Rich people not wanting to pay more taxes to a king. That's why we rebelled, right? We were founded on stealing land and breaking treaties with indigenous people, with the First Nations. We were founded on when we could, after we stole the land and we couldn't force the First Nations to work for us for free, we went to Africa and stole people so that they could work for us for free. So, it's and then when the enslaved black people no longer wanted to stay enslaved and work for free, and of course you can make a ton of money if you don't have to pay people. Then once they don't want to do it, then we'll steal Shanghai and borrow and trick another group of people to come to build our railroads, right? So that's that's what we talk about. And how did I get started on this? Well, I mean, because I think I had said something like, America cannot love itself because it doesn't know itself. So what we love about America is a lie, right? You can't. And what I think a lot of MAGA people are like, make America great again. they're they're I don't want to get too political, but I guess the personal is political. But that's why, because we are taught a lie, what we love is a lie. And so when we are confronted with the truth, what we love is threatened, if that makes sense. And I think that's a lot of people's, I think that's a lot of people's misunderstanding. Anyway, didn't mean to go off on that. So yes, I like to study those things. I think if I had gotten an earlier start studying those things, it's not that my life would be better. I just find it interesting. I don't know if it's employable. I doubt it's employable. But what else would I have studied? I probably would have studied psychology. I find psychology practical, applied psychology. I don't really care about theories of like your ego and like Carl Jung. Like everyone's so fascinated with Carl Jung, and I'm just like, I find that so boring. But what I do find interesting is in helping people heal, dealing with past trauma, and like working through those things, how to deal with it as a person, how to help people deal with it. I find that interesting too. Whether I would apply it, I don't know. Oh, okay. So Margaret Christie asked, you see this with me too as well. Can you separate the art from the artist, and should you? It's funny that you mentioned that because we discuss Harvey Weinstein in tomorrow's podcast as well. I'm totally spoiling the podcast, but it's an hour long. I find it a very fascinating podcast, but that's because I'm in the podcast. But hopefully you guys will listen to it and you'll like it. But yeah, can you separate the art? Pamela, I'm totally with you. I'm totally interested in the why people do things. And then also the how. I'm very interested in the how. But like, yeah, we talk about art, and one could argue that like Harvey Weinstein made good art or enabled good art, but I would argue that how much better the art could have been if people weren't afraid. If all the women weren't threatened, right? Like how much more amazing. I think when I was younger, I subscribed to the belief that only good art was possible if you were in pain, if you knew suffering, if you were sad, and that once you were happy, then art became boring. And I think that's a unfortunate lie that we've swallowed, because I would argue that a lot of the best art that we've seen from BTS has been coming from when they're in a happy and a secure place. And so, not saying that you can't make good art through pain, and that is a way to deal with pain, but that there's also something that you can also create beauty in art coming from a secure place, from a place where you know that you're loved, from a place. And there's places for all these things. I think that's why it's so great to be a human with such a full breadth of things. Like there's no one way to make art. There's no one way to make beautiful and good things. If that makes sense. Let's see. Oh yes, Margaret Christie has worked a lot with abuse survivors, and and Salham Sassy, Southern Sassy says it would depend on the artist and the art. Yeah, I think so too. Like Woody Allen, I just don't like his art, so I don't really. And he's a horrible person, so I don't care for either. But then like Big Bang had like Sungri, and I really enjoy Big Bang. So I don't know. What can you do? What can you do? So I don't know if I actually answered that question. If I would study, I would study. I think I would hope that I would study. I find that if I'm interested in it, then I would probably study. I didn't study very much in college. It's a shame. It's a shame. All right. So Tanya had asked, I don't actually know if I answered this last week, but I don't remember if I did. She asked, how did I meet my husband? He was my boss. Oh, I think I did answer this question. He was my boss. We worked together at an internet marketing firm. And yeah, he was my boss. And now I'm the boss, as it should be. And then I guess that was most of the questions people asked me. So if you guys have more, feel free to ask in the live. I did want to talk about kind of what my background in, like what like my perspective is in terms of like watching music and art and like writing and stuff. So I have played piano. I played piano starting at like 4, maybe 3 or 4. So I don't remember a time where I did not know how to read music. And so when my kids were learning piano, it was really frustrating for me because I was like, how do you not know what that is? And so I was a really good sight reader. I was really good at piano. Um, and yeah, I played piano for 15 years. And I was in choir. I used to have relative pitch, so I could find C, and then from C I could find most notes. And the more I was doing music, the more I could actually find whatever note you wanted. I could find it. Um, so they used to use me as a tuning fork. And so yeah, I was a really good sight reader. Um, very good at playing piano. I never did competitions or anything because I was interested in it because I wanted to discuss something later too about the idea of the best. And so I was obsessed with the idea of the best. And I used to sing, and I took voice lessons for like, I took voice lessons during high school and then after college too. I took voice lessons for at least 4 or 5 years. And so I did a lot of classical voice lessons. I was in like the top choirs and stuff. I was in orchestra, I was in band. So I was very, very musical. I can read music. I can sight read. I, I, I actually prefer harmonies. I love singing harmony. I don't singing the melody's fine, but I find it more interesting to see harmony. And I was told I was always sorted as an alto, even though I can sing soprano. But the reason why they put me in, they always in choirs they put you in alto, even if you can sing soprano, because if you can read music and read it well, they put you in alto because it's harder to be an alto, right? Because you're not singing the melody. That's not the only reason, but they often do that. Um, and then I can look at a score and hear it, or I did. Um, I did because I haven't done music in a really, really long time. It's harder for me, but it's really weird. If I look at a piece of music and my son asks me like, "What note is this?" I have to stop and think. I can't actually tell you exactly what note it is unless it was like a really obvious one, but I can play it. If that makes sense, like I just know where it is. Um, but I haven't done music. So I used to write songs. I taught myself how to play the guitar badly. Um, I took violin, but I was terrible at it. And here's the thing about me. I was always under the my parents always like emphasized being the best at something and wanting to have the best of something. And then my dad also used to scoff at people who weren't naturally smart or naturally talented. And to me, it was all about natural versus, and my dad did me a huge disservice. And I don't know, well, he was a horrible person, but somehow I thought it was like to train in something was less impressive than natural talent, which is not true, right? So personally, I think now I know that just because you have talent doesn't mean that you're good at it, if that makes any sense. You still have to practice. And just because you're practiced at it, like talent can take you only so far, right? Training and practice can only take you so far because sometimes you just don't have the it, or like you just can't, you know what I mean? Like you're sufficient, but maybe you just lack that it factor, right? But if you have talent and you practice, oh my God, how amazing. Right? So it's sort of like the false dichotomy. You either have talent or you practice. When it's not really the case at all, right? So same thing with like the art. Like, oh, you have to be sad to make good art, or think of those predators who made good art. Like, how much better would their art have been if people weren't afraid? How much better would your art be if you came from a safe space, if that makes sense? So that's and so I had a lot of experience in music, and I made music. I was surrounded by musicians, like my good friend Chris. He is a film composer. I had lots of friends who were trying to like make it as a band. I played in bands. So it was a big in terms of acting. Again, I never studied it really, but I was good at it. I got cast in like musicals, but then I was afraid of being in them, so I like deferred things. Um, but yeah, so I had a lot of background in the performing arts, but I realize now as an adult when I look back at how people study, like, I forget who I was watching, but he was talking about how he used to watch people act and he would study how they act and he would study what made their faces. And to me, I was always like, oh, it's just what's more natural. How do you feel about it? I didn't realize people would try different takes or try different interpretations. And that's when I realized I don't deserve to be a successful actor and I don't deserve to be a successful singer and I don't deserve to be a successful blah, blah, blah. Not because I don't have talent or whatever, but because I am not willing to put in the work to be an expert at it. But with writing, I am. So I've always studied like writing. I've always like read a lot. I've always tried to figure out why, right? Maybe not like break it down analytically, but I would read about why people thought certain types of writing was good or a type of technique or I would just actually just read. I would submerge myself in an author in good writing. And so then you kind of pick up that rhythm, right? And so I think that's when I realized the difference between talent and working hard. And also, a lot of the reason why I think I gravitate towards writing is because you don't see the creating of it, if that makes sense. Like when you're practicing writing, unless if you show your writing to somebody, no one sees how crappy it was until it was good, right? But with like singing and dancing, I'm not a bad dancer, but no one would ever call me a good dancer. I'm at best a mediocre dancer. But like I feel like physical things, like someone sees your body make these movements or say these things or sing these things, and they physically witness you messing up. So the learning is very public, and I don't like that. So that's why I realized, you know what, I'm not ever gonna be good at that. But writing, because the failing is more private, I'm okay with that. Maria says we have so little exposure to the creation of art, we only see the finished project, and I think that makes us wary of trying. Look at the yes, Maria, I totally agree with you, and I think that's what I've been trying to do with my children. So my parents, again, were very obsessed with being the best, and a lot of people, because I'm doing these reactions, especially because I've been reacting to Dimash, people keep asking me about the best, and so that's kind of what I wanted to like segue into, which is that there's no such thing as the best, and Jeff, Harry, and I talk about it in the EXO reaction today. There's no such thing as the best. Because it's a always moving target, and it changes depending on who is doing the judging. The best according to whom, right? Like the best according to whom, right? Like the best according to what arbitrary designations, and who said those are the right designations, and who said that it even matters? Like why does it matter that it's the best? Like why would it matter if I had the best piano teacher? Why? Why would it have mattered? Why would it have mattered if I was better than a friend at playing piano? Like their being good at piano makes no difference on how good I am at piano, right? Like they do not detract from that. One does not take away from the other. Like my success does not take away from someone else's success. And I think it was very, very difficult for me to learn. And then even now. But I saw it when I was teaching my kids Chinese. People would constantly, I would always feel like, I would feel slightly gratified if my kid's Chinese was better than someone else's. But why? Like, what? There's 1 billion people in the world in China, right? They all speak Chinese. What does it matter if one of those people's Chinese is better than the others? Like, why? Why does that matter? Like, also, my child being better than someone else's child at Chinese doesn't actually mean they're good at Chinese. It just means that they're better than this person in this particular area, right? Like, it doesn't actually affect